It's been a while since I made a more critical video, so today we're going to be discussing bad pacing, ugly animation, nothing characters, scummy business practices, cowardly songwriting, bastardized themes, and horrible world building. The 2012 Lorax movie takes any good theme and plunges it into the ground through Illumination's money-hungry business tactics. I understand that these are a lot of bold claims, and while pitching this idea to some of my friends, I just got bombarded with, "It's just a kids movie, kids are stupid. Why do you care so much? It's not even that bad, you're just dramatic." Let's find out. The original Seuss book came out in 1971. A boy is walking through the gloom where the grickle grass grows. What could have happened, he wishes to know. Where the Lorax once stood, he grabs a snail to use as payment for the old Onceler's tale. This is stupid. After being paid, the Onceler tells the story of how he grew and destroyed an empire. He made an invention called the Thneed. The Thneed symbolizes any corporatized bullshit product that you think you need. To make it, he cuts down a truffula tree, and out of its stump, a forest guardian called the Lorax emerges, calling the Onceler greedy for his actions. Not listening, the Onceler keeps biggering and biggering his business by cutting down more trees. The Lorax keeps warning the Onceler to stop, but his greed gets in the way and he cuts down the last truffula tree. No more trees, no more Thneeds. All that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. With that, the Lorax ascends into the sky, leaving behind a pile of rocks with the words, "Unless." The Onceler concludes his story by giving the seed to the boy, saying, "Unless someone likes you, cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not." This book came out and it kind of made people pissed for a while. The book got banned in schools across California for brainwashing. Also in protest, a book called Trucks was published by Terry Burkett. It was basically making fun of and flipping the themes of the Lorax. This disgusting fellow named Guardbark says it's okay to cut down trees because wildfires exist. It's stupid. The Lorax book is great. The only characters are the Onceler and the Lorax. These aren't real people. None of this is expected to be taken literally. The Onceler's face is never shown. It's a concept, set to represent corporations and the individuals who turn a blind eye to their destruction. The Lorax is nature, useless to stop humanity. All he can do is point out and hope for change. The audience is the little boy, listening to the story, given the responsibility to fix the problems of the world. Throughout the course of the story, the Onceler never really changed. The boy still paid the Onceler to hear the story. He's a capitalist. Unless someone like you cares, nothing will change. The Onceler still doesn't care. The Lorax cares, but he can't stop the Onceler. Unless the Onceler cares. That's what the stone really means. The seed is a call to action, one that is passed off to the viewer. A year after the book was published, a 20-minute adaptation was released. It follows the same general plot as the book. This iteration of the story, however, focuses more on the Onceler as a character, and the gray areas of morality that the book leaves out.
Well, what do you want? I should shut down my factory? Fire 100,000 workers? Is that good economics? Is that sound for the country?
I see your point, but I wouldn't know the answer.
Having the Onceler as a more fleshed out character allows you to sympathize with him more, but still doesn't sugarcoat any of his actions.
Aren't you ashamed, you old Onceler? You ought to be locked in a hoosh cow, you should. The things that you do are completely ungood.
Yeah? But if I didn't do them, then someone else would.
That's a very good point, Mr. Onceler.
His pollution is far worse than just cutting down trees. The music is also incredible. It has that Seuss goofiness, but also keeps the serious themes of the story. If the Lorax faded into obscurity over the years, I would have been thrilled. It was an incredible book and a cartoon. It had a great run. Unfortunately, in 2012, Illumination did its take on the Lorax. It's about here, in the character of the Lorax, that I start to get pissed off. Nearly everything that made the Lorax good and popular in the first place is completely demolished, leaving me wondering if Illumination even knew the original intent of the book. Let me ask you a question and really think about this. If you lived in Thneedville, would you actually want change? You can play in the snow or walk on the beach. It's always shown to be a nice sunny day out with beautiful vibrant colors. If the entire point of the film is a call to action to change the world, why would you go out of your way to show Thneedville as a perfect utopia? You have set rules in Thneedville. You pay for air. The air is so polluted that you can't breathe, and that's normal, right? Then why is this refused to be shown visually? Why aren't the citizens wearing respirators? Why is the sky so clear? If there are no trees, how do they make the oxygen that they sell? Is this a technologically advanced world able to make oxygen? If you want your film to be a call to action, you can't already depict humanity as being okay. Are they drinking the air? How does that even work? If trees don't exist, there's no way anyone could eat anything. The book and the cartoon were strictly symbolic. However, when you try to flesh out and characterize the world, you leave it open for me to come in and criticize it. There's this guy. It's Zac Efron. He's super horny for Taylor Swift. The driving event that sets this entire story in motion is Ginger Taylor Swift saying that she'll fall in love with anyone who gets her a tree. The original intention of Zac Efron in the book is about being the change that the world needs. Being the person who cares enough about the state of the world to do something about it. The book teaches us that there's nothing more important than hooking up with Taylor Swift. Zac and his family are sitting at the dinner table eating Jell-O, which is made of the skin and bones from pigs or cows or any farm animal, who eat grains, which come from plants, which canonically doesn't exist in this universe, making this whole scene impossible. Oh, it's a stupid kids movie, shielding it from any form of criticism. Grandma suggests that Zac gets a tree from the Onceler. Zac responds in this patronizing way, alluding to the fact that the Onceler isn't a real person and is just a myth.
The Onceler is the man who knows what happened to the trees. You want one? You need to find him.
The Onceler? Okay. Grammy, is this a real thing that we're talking about now?
Oh, he's real, all right.
Well, where can I find him? Ah!
But the Onceler is still alive. Zac lives in the town the Onceler founded. This couldn't have been more than 50 years after the Thneed was invented. This writing is just super lazy. Ted meets the Onceler and pays him to hear the story of what happened to the trees in hopes of getting one for himself. Just so he could fuck Taylor Swift. While telling the story, the Onceler keeps making Zac come back so we have more scenes in Thneedville. But all of these are completely boring and utterly painful to get through. All of the characters are pointless, and it's all just a way to drag the length of the film. We're just gonna put these right where they belong. The Onceler is finally given a face. His family looks down on him, but he pushes through. He goes off on his own with nothing but a mule, his guitar, and pentatonicism. He's intentionally made out to be this hot indie boy for teen girls to gush over on Tumblr. The Onceler cuts down a tree, and Danny DeVito's The Lorax is introduced. This version of the Lorax sucks ass. He's such an annoying, unlikable, cynical asshole throughout the entire movie, which, surprise, surprise, isn't the point of his character. The purpose of the Lorax is to point out the flaws in the Onceler's plans in an attempt to make the Onceler care about what he's doing. The Lorax is not supposed to murder the Onceler. One of the biggest flaws with the writing of this character is an attempt to make there a more positive relationship between the Lorax and Onceler. That's not what this story is about. This single change affects the entire plot of the movie. Instead of it being a warning against greed and environmentalism, it's about the growing and eventual falling out between these two characters. There's a weird attempt to draw emotion out of us. The Onceler destroyed the valley and the Lorax left. It is framed as if we should be sad that the Lorax and Onceler had a falling out. They're no longer best buddies who play cards and eat marshmallows anymore. The Onceler takes his tree and makes a Thneed with it. It's a hit and people go crazy for them. He invites his horrible, obnoxious garbage family to work for him making Thneeds. They pressure him to cut down more trees and make his job easier. So let's just recap. The Onceler, destroyer of the known world, has all blame pawned off of him to his family. It's their fault for the destruction. He had no idea. If you're gonna pawn all blame off of your antagonist of a movie, why have him in it at all? The writers try so hard to make the Onceler likable that they make the Lorax obnoxious and annoying and add 5 new characters to take all the blame off of the Onceler's actions. Pathetic. Destroy and pollute the world to the point of no life being able to live there anymore? The Onceler would never do that. He's just a nice, sympathetic guy like you or me. He somehow manages to destroy everything through the length of a 3-minute song. How Bad Can I Be manages to be my least favorite part in the entire film. Most of the song, he is just flexing his wealth and belongings in the style of a 2016 diss track. Only 40 seconds of the entire film actually shows him polluting or destroying the environment in any sort of way. How Bad Can I Be paints corporations as instigators of pollution, but oblivious to their actions. This makes 0 sense for the character of this story. Illumination, sit down. The Onceler is your antagonist. I'm sure most of you are aware, but for those of you who aren't, originally there was a completely different soundtrack for the film. Among them was the villain song, Biggering. In place of How Bad Can I Be, Biggering focuses heavily on the Onceler's greed and need for more and more. It talks seriously about the toxicity of greed in the corporate world. Bickering was real and it was uncomfortable. Illumination's corporate, being a big company themselves, scrapped the original soundtrack, telling them to tone everything down a notch. Make the songs more hummable. If you get a song stuck in your head, you'll start thinking about the film it's attached to, leading you to want to watch it again, earning Illumination more money. Kind of ironic how this practice is the exact corporate greed that the film intended to tackle. Some original lyrics are, "Who cares if things are dying?" being changed to, "Who cares if trees are dying?" A seemingly small change, but I believe it has a huge impact. Bickering implies the destruction of not only trees, but animals and ecosystems destroyed. The Onceler finishes his story and gives Zac Efron the seed, explaining the meaning of unless. The movie should end. We, the viewer, are the unless. It's a call to action. However, we need to complete the pointless B-plot of Zac Efron's endless quest to hook up with Ginger Taylor Swift. I honestly could not care about any plotline inside of Thneedville. It's all a way to take this 20-minute story and destroy the pacing. The citizens sing a song about wanting to plant the tree. They do it, even though it makes no sense because they live in a literal paradise. The Onceler leaves his house and plants more trees. This leads me to believe that he just has a stash of seeds and is refusing to plant them until now, which makes his baffling business model even more confusing. The Lorax comes back after all these years to congratulate the Onceler for replanting. This baffling creative decision somehow manages to take the confusing, horribly worded message and crush what little point they had left in the first place. Unless means that you, the viewer, need to do something about it, even with no promise of a happy ending. Why would the Lorax come back and congratulate the Onceler? The damage is done, and having the Lorax come back completely muddies this message. You may have noticed that I've yet to mention O'Hare. That's because he's stupid. Why is there a fascist dictator inside of Thneedville? He's not needed. There's no reason for this character to exist. Let me ask you this. Who is the antagonist of the film? Is it O'Hare? The Onceler? The Onceler's family? Instead of being a film about corporate greed, it turns into a stop the villain story. But at that point, why would you even have the Onceler? To be a narrator? Do you see what I hate about this film? I feel as if bastardization is the perfect word to describe the themes that are attempted to be told. It's not even a movie. A movie suggests that there are certain levels of themes and some form of value. This is a product. It's a product with 70 corporate tie-ins, including HP, IHOP, Xfinity, Whole Foods, and Mazda. Truffle-a-tree approved. I'm kind of mind-blown at the lack of self-awareness calling a gas-powered car Truffle-a-tree approved. Especially when this exact action is almost exactly criticized in How Bad Can I Be? Calling the Thneed Lorax approved? How unaware of your actions do you really need to be when your own film criticizes its own advertisements? It's clear that this film was just a nightmare to work on. I'm sure that most people involved just wanted to make a nice, heartwarming film about the dangers of corporate greed. It's just kind of unfortunate that the greediest film studio in all of existence was breathing down their necks the entire time. I encourage all of you to check out the original soundtrack. There are so many fan animatics to the songs, it really helps paint the picture of the original, unaltered version of the film without studio interference. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out Andz, hoodies, t-shirts, and more.com to pick up that incredible Andz merch that you need in your life. And a reminder that you're not allowed to enjoy a content creator unless you support them financially. Hey, it's me. I look different, just to prove that time has passed. I just have a few announcements, then we'll get out of here. There's a whole cut section of this video where I talk about Oncest. So if that deleted scene is interesting to you, it'll be up on my second channel. Also, you might have noticed I haven't posted in a while. I had a whole video that I already finished and edited about Super Mario Galaxy. It sucked, so I scrapped it, so I hope you can understand. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, it helps me out a lot, and I promise there won't be this much of a gap in between videos anymore. Like, subscribe, you know all the shit to do. Have fun. See you next time.